Jay Feely will attempt a 33-yard field goal. Jeff Beagles will hold. And that kick is no good. And again, it's Giants Stadium. You've got the swirling wind, so a very promising start. And an ugly finish on that drive for the Giants as Chicago takes over when we come back. Over the 25-yard line. Grossman coming off that 3-interception game, and he also fumbled, and he gets whacked as he throws, and it is intercepted at the 32-yard line. Mathias Kiwanuka, the rookie out of Boston College, the #1 draft choice, and the guy who's getting the start because both Giant defensive ends are hurt, just intercepts his first career pass and gives the Giants a 1st and goal. And look at Grossman's helmet. That tells the story.
You're right, and the blitz is going to come from the other side. This time it's coming from his backside. You see the back steps up, and then he comes in and see Grossman is looking to his right. He gets hit right there by 2 guys, and just as he throws it, that's a zone dog where they overload the right side, come from that side, drop in the left side, and there was Kiwanuka.
Fred Robbins, the tackle, Will Demps, the safety, the 2 guys to hit him. With Michael Strahan out and Osi Umenyiora out, those are the 2 starters. And a lot of people were surprised when they went in the draft and picked a defensive end #1. That was the guy right there, Kiwanuka. 1st and goal at the 1-yard line. And they give it to Brandon Jacobs, and he's good as gold on a 1st and goal.
We have all the things that couldn't happen to the Chicago Bears. It's what we talked about. They can't have a turnover early. They had 6 of them last week. They lost to Miami, and they start right now. But the Giants made that happen. I mean, they come on a dog from the backside. They blitz. They get the ball. And then this is just way too easy when Brandon can go into the end zone like that.
And that's an interesting celebration. I'm not quite sure what that was, but it could be an ode to his wife, who I believe, I read last week that she was pregnant. He puts the ball under his jersey.
I would say that could be an ode to his wife.
And meanwhile, unsportsmanlike conduct.
For the ode. For the ode.
3-yard penalty will be enforced on the kickoff.
They called it on Jacobs.
I don't think in your ode, I don't think you can celebrate with the ball. Isn't that one of the rules?
Well, I know you can't go to the ground because you can't use a prop. Maybe it's a group celebration. Well, I assume that was the ode right there.
Yeah.
Then you've got the group celebration, and that's probably the reason for the unsportsmanlike conduct. Who knows? In any event, it'll be assessed on the kickoff. Jay Feely for the extra point. So Kiwanuka sets it up with the interception, but credit Robbins and Demps for creating that interception on Grossman's 2nd pass of the night. Giants lead early, 7-0.
You know, is show him something, then do something else. You'll get him to feel that this is what the defense is going to do, and then give him a different picture.
Robbie Gould hasn't missed a kick all season. This will test him. Swirling wind, 49-yard attempt. Maynard puts it down, and Robbie Gould's perfect season continues. Now you have a 46-yard attempt for Jay Feely, who, going in the other direction, missed one from 33. Jeff Beagles now in his 19th season to hold, and that kick will draw its way through the uprights. Started a little bit to the outside, drew back in, and Feely extends the Giant lead to 7. 10-3 New York, early 2nd quarter. 2nd down and 9. 3 wide out, shotgun. Manning dancing away, throws, finds the open man. That's first, and then he loses the ball at the 5-yard line. He made the catch, and then it is Charles Tillman who comes away with it, and he loses the ball at the 13-yard line, and there's a flag down on the Tillman run back.
And that's a matchup we've been watching all night. Plexico Burress, Charles Tillman playing against them.
And the Giants eventually wind up with the football, but now let's see about the flag.
Plexico Burress pointing to himself, say that's me, and of course once you catch the ball and fumble it, of course it is you.
Danielle Manning created the fumble.
Holding offense number 70. 10-yard penalty enforced from the previous spot. Repeat second down.
After all that, it's simply a 10-yard penalty against the Giants. But let's go back and take a look at the pass to Burris. So the holding would have been negated here if Chicago held on to the ball.
Yeah, they had to rule that was an incomplete pass, because if that was a complete pass and a fumble, then the ball would be from there, right? It would be the Giants' ball there, wouldn't it? And then the penalty would be from that spot.
Yeah, that's why the Bears are out there with Hockley right now discussing what it is, because it's one thing to have offensive holding before the change of possession. But let's get the.
Chicago was challenging the ruling. Chicago believes that the player's knee was down before the fumble, so the ball would be Chicago's ball, and the penalty would not be enforced.
Right. See, what you have here, chronologically, holding against the Giants, which would be negated if Chicago winds up with the ball. Under the hood goes Hockley. We'll be back.
Here we go.
Fumble. Then the question becomes, did the Bears, when Tillman fumbled, was his knee down? Meanwhile, you can see how hard it's training right now. If his knee is down, Chicago will get the ball. They'll wipe out the holding call. Left knee goes down, Snee comes in, and he is going to dislodge the ball. So this is what Hockley has to rule right now. Was he down with possession, which he appears to be, in which case, forget about the offensive holding. Chicago recovers the fumble. In the meantime, if his knee wasn't down, he fumbles the ball, and the Giants would recover. And then they would assess the penalty against the Giants. But it's a big call here for the Giants in as much as it's possession or Chicago's possession.
The ruling on the field stands as called. The holding penalty will be enforced. It's New York's ball, second down. Chicago is charged with a timeout.
So what Hockley is ruling here is that before Tillman's knee was down, the ball was coming out. Here's the whole essence of the play right now. This is about as close as it gets. Left knee down, ball's coming out, and he's going to rule that his knee wasn't down. His knee is clearly down. The question is, does he have possession? It appears he does, but Snee is ripping it loose. And the penalty gets assessed from the previous spot. So after all that, it's 2nd and 19, and it's scoring. Apart from that, there's not a lot going on here tonight.
Right, and that was a funny coverage because, you know, we said Charles Tillman was out there. He was on Plexico Burris, but Burris ran an end, and Tillman just let him go.
And just to button it up, the Bears lose a timeout because of the challenge. Now Barber takes it to the 20-yard line, tackled there by Lance Briggs. So
to the run, and I think that was a good call on that second down to go back to the run.
Now it's 3rd and 12, and here's the run again, and that is big number 99, Tank Johnson, who comes in like his name for a Feely, who missed from 33 and then made from 46. His one make was in this direction, and so was his second. 2:21 remaining in the first half. And the Giants extend their lead to 13-3.
We have to do this. If they play off, we want to go here, you know, blitz, we want to slide, and those things. And if the guy's not playing, you don't have anything to talk to him about.
3rd and 22, and they run a draw, and that's the biggest run of the night for Chicago. On a 3rd and 22, it's a first down. He stays in bounds, does Jones, at the 46, so the clock keeps going. Chicago has 2 timeouts. That's a 26-yard gallop for the older brother of the Cowboys, Julius Jones.
Right, and they just had to get something going to get him out of the sleepwalk.
And that was it. And now Bradley makes the catch, but he can't get out of bounds. He's tackled at the 39, but the clock will stop on a flag. Bears need something offensively before the half. Down by 10. Grossman, trips to the right. Grossman's thrown for only 56 yards. He throws underneath for Bradley, and that wouldn't have gone anywhere to begin with, as Antonio Pierce is there. And you hear that throaty New York roar right now on 2nd and 15. And Grossman finds the open man, and that's Muhsin Muhammad. And he has a first down at the 30-yard line. Tackled there by Butler. And now Chicago with 2 timeouts, and they will take the first of those 2 remaining. 20-yard gain. They can only hope right now. First things first, though, as at least they try to get within 7. Field goal at worst. They're already in field goal range here. The ball is at the 29-yard line. You've got Grossman going deep down the left side, and Bradley got free and gets it for the touchdown. Bradley got behind Sam Madison. Madison lost him. Bradley got into the corner, and it's a 29-yard touchdown pass, the first career touchdown pass for Mark Bradley, their number 2 draft choice last year out of Oklahoma.
Right, Sam Madison, number 22, the corner, came in with a pulled hamstring, and I think he may have pulled his hamstring on that play. He was no match at all for Bradley.
Madison was going to be a game-time decision, slick field and all of that. Bradley got behind him, and Chicago tries to tack on the extra point, which Gold does. So that changes the entire complexion of the game. Chicago had done nothing until inside the 2-minute warning, and that Jones 26-yard run culminated by this catch by Bradley as Madison pulls up Gimpy.
Yeah, you see him as he went to turn. He was beaten anyway. I mean, he was beaten, but he pulls the hamstring after. But here's what made it possible. They've been having trouble with their protection, but here they gave Rex Grossman time that he could step up, he could look, he even pumped once, and then got that ball out there to Bradley. Could have let him out a little more, but you see Sam Madison, when he went to turn, he couldn't run.
This was a 3rd down and 22. They run a draw to Jones. They had nothing going in the rushing department tonight until then. And of course, then you had a pass to Muhammad down to about the 30-yard line, and Madison will go limping back into the locker room. Bradley gets into the end zone, and all of a sudden, it's a 3-point game. 3rd and 6. If they don't get a yard on this play, you'll be looking at about a 44-yard Robbie Gould field goal attempt to tie the game.
Nickel in the first half, they blitz from this all the time. Here they are again.
They come again. The pass is caught outside the 10, but then it's fumbled by Muhammad, and the Giants are all over it at the 1-yard line, and they recover. Corey Webster created the fumble. Muhammad looking for the end zone, made the catch, got inside the 5, puts it on the ground, and Chicago has just turned the ball over for the 3rd time in the game.
Right, Chicago made good adjustments because I said earlier they were getting in that nickel in the first half and blitzing. The Bears couldn't handle it. Now they handle it, complete the pass, and fumble it.
Recovered by Debs. Muhammad, 8 years at Carolina, 2nd year with the Bears, his first fumble since joining Chicago.
Watch Corey Webster there. He has a man-to-man. He plays that poorly, knows that, so he has to do something about it, and he does. He strips it out of Muhammad's hands.
Now the Giants at the 2-yard line. Second down and 11. Ian Scott was the guy who got his hand on it. Now you've got a fullback Finn in there. You've got Shockey backing up. He'll go in motion. Barber is the tailback. Tiki will try to run it out of the end zone. And boy, that's why, you know, I mean, it's just
you're right.
So much easier. The Bears think they have a safety, but he did get it beyond the goal line. But it is so, it's almost tougher to get it out of the end zone in that situation running as it is to get it into the end zone when you're inside the other team's 1-yard line.
You know, and as good as Tiki Barber is, since he hurt his hand in this game, I don't feel that he's been running the same way. I mean, he looks like he's a little tentative going in there. He's really not whamming that thing in there. And he usually, you know, I mean, he's not a big, powerful runner anyway, but he makes, you know, strong and quick cuts. And I don't think since he hurt that thumb that he's been running the same way.
If nothing else, they need at least a little bit of room if they're going to punt. Because if they throw here and it's incomplete, you got Fiegels 10 yards behind the center. And Manning will throw, and he will not get that luxury unless there's a flag, and there is none. It is Burris who gets contacted as the ball got there by Tillman. So Tillman with what would have to be considered like perfect coverage now because there was no flag.
Well, he knows. Remember earlier we saw him getting up and then bailing out. This time he gets up on Burris and he presses him, and he throws the timing off.
And now you've got a short snap and a real fast kick.
Yeah, you try and get the ball out to the 5-yard line because the punter is usually 15 yards behind the center.
In this case, he's 10. He's right on the back line. The snap, Eagles kick, not bad. End over end, a liner. Hester fields it at the 40-yard line and then spins around, and the Giants' coverage is great. And that's big. Because if nothing else, if Hester had come straight forward, he probably would have gotten down to the 30-yard line. But he looked for the big return there.
Now handling this Giant defense.
Bears have now outrushed the Giants, 57-55. They spread it out here. Giants in the nickel, 3rd down and 3 for Chicago from the 10. And Grossman throws. That's a first down and a touchdown. Muhsin Muhammad gets into the end zone. He's fumbled earlier at the 2. They got the ball back after pinning the Giants deep and cash in off the short field for their first lead of the game.
You know, when you get down this close, you have to play tighter. I think the Giants just gave Muhammad way too much room here. And he was able just to run up there, turn around, catch the ball, and go into the end zone. I mean, you have to get up tight on him. You have to bump him. You have to reroute him. You have to do something, but you can't let him do that.
Corey Webster was the man who was on him. Gold's extra point is good. So the Giants, not that long ago, were leading by 10. And now it's the Bears by 4 with 8:20 to play in the 3rd.
One, they have to get the ball to Shockey, and 2, they have to be able to run.
Haven't even thrown to Shockey tonight. 2nd and 10. And there's a flag. Manning loses the ball. The Bears are going to wind up with it. Alex Brown creates the fumble. But it all depends on the penalty.
Alex Brown over the years has kind of raised havoc with the Giants.
Last time these two teams met in 2004, Brown had 4 sacks of Kurt Warner. Now for the moment, you've got Chicago coming up with the ball. So what about the penalty?
Remember, Bob Whitfield is your left tackle there, and he's taking Luke Pettigew's place, and you see that Whitfield gets up there. In fact, he had his arm around his neck, and he still beat him.
And the hold was on Whitfield. But John Tate, the left tackle, who smothered Will Demps on the play. The fake to Jones, Grossman to the end zone. Touchdown to Desmond Clark. We talked about him in the first half as his new go-to guy. Well, it's the first time in the game he's gone to him.
Hey, that was a good play-action pass. I was impressed with Rex Grossman here. Watch how quickly he comes out of the play fake. You see how he just makes it, and then he's going to come back here, and he straightens up, and he gets that ball to Desmond Clark. Because you can't keep your head turned away from the defense and your receiver. So you have to fake that ball and then get your head snapped around.
Giant Stadium is silent. Gold's extra point is good. The Chicago Bears have run up 21 unanswered points. 5.5 left in the 3rd. Bears by 11 for the stop.
Yeah, I was watching practice the other day, Al, and Jeremy Shockey was catching about half the footballs, and he practices as hard as any guy I've ever seen. And I thought Shockey was going to have a big game because in practice he had a big practice, and I don't think he's had a ball thrown to him, has he?
Nope. In the slot to the left, along with Tyree. They send Tyree back into the backfield now. Manning looking that way now. Manning throwing. And sooner or later, you knew it was going to happen. He's tackled by Urlacher, and that will be a first down. Shockey trying to fire up the Giants and the fans as well here.
Well, I think he's trying to fire up the coaches, too. I mean, he plays hard. You know, he's not one-dimensional. He's just not a pass receiver. He's a blocker, and that's what he's been doing. But, you know, he's been working this whole time. You know, and he's been trying to hit someone and doing all those things. And you know, it's just a matter of time. And sometimes as a coach, it's your responsibility, too. If a guy hasn't gotten the ball, you have to find something to get him open, to get him a ball.
On the 46-yard line. Now Barber cuts back, and there goes Tiki. Inside the 30, inside the 20, inside the 10, First and goal at the 6-yard line. Tiki Barber with his longest run of the season, 46 yards.
Those are the two things the Giants had to do, and they did them back-to-back. They had to get the ball to Shockey, and they had to get the running game to Tiki Barber going. They got the ball to Shockey, and boom, here comes Tiki Barber.
They get him out of bounds at the 8. That's 100 yards tonight for Tiki Barber.
Look at Jeremy Shockey block. He is a powerful guy. I mean, he plays the game like a kid would play it in the park, believe me.
Brandon Jacobs is in a tailback. Shockey in motion. They give it to the big bull. Touchdown Giants. Boy, did they make that look easy. Jacobs, who normally scores from the 1 or the 2, maybe the 3, that's his longest touchdown run. And he gets into the end zone with some frequency. His 5th rushing score of the year.
Well, you know, we talk about what got the Chicago Bears going. Well, it was Jeremy Shockey. I think, you know, in his pass catch, you know, got the Giants going, and then, of course, followed by Tiki Barber, and then they bring in Brandon Jacobs, and he just runs it in.
Brink Finn is the fullback as well. He threw the block that sprung him. Feely now for the extra point. Took the Giants 2 minutes and 9 seconds. 5 plays. Right back in the game. 3:26 remaining, 3rd quarter. 24-20 Chicago.
You know, good blocking on that right side. Watch a right tackle here. Kareem McKenzie block here, and then Snee is going to pull. See, here comes McKenzie right there, the right tackle. He comes down. Chris Snee pulls around, kicks out the force man, and no one touches Brandon Jacobs.
Finn took care of Briggs as well. 20 on 55.
Well, you know, there's not a lot of guys anxious to tackle that guy. Notice that I watch him on film, and everyone just throws their body at his ankles.
He's as big as Urlacher.
Right. But
the big downside to that is if you miss it, you give the Bears the ball back at about the 41-yard line.
Yeah, I think they fouled up on that 3rd down play. I don't think that they had to go for a 1st down. I would have gone for about 7 or 8 yards and been in a lot better field goal position than they are now.
In fact, it's going to be a 52-yard attempt into the notorious swirling winds of Giant Stadium, where any of the action was.
And that's a tough thing with kicking that field goal, because, you know, it can be blocked. If you don't make it, they're going to get good field position, or it can be returned as it was.
If it stands, it would equal the longest play in the history of the league. It would be 108 yards.
After the touchdown, personal foul, unnecessary roughness by the Giants, number 65. The penalty will be booked by the kickoff. Touchdown.
What a deke by Hester. I mean, the kick is short. He stands there as if, okay, that's it. I'm going to take a knee. He waits to see what develops. There he is, nothing. A little fake, and the next thing you know, it's a play that equals the longest play in the history of the National Football League.
Heck of a block.
Great block. Down the sideline he goes on a missed 52-yard attempt.
Did you think that he made that first move on purpose? I mean, that he was trying to draw him, lull him to sleep?
You know, you don't know with him. This kid was a phenomenal run back guy in college. One of the reasons they drafted him. He's run back 2 punts, 80 or more yards. He's also fumbled some kicks. But right now he has turned this into an 11-point advantage. And goal after the timeout for Chicago from the 2. And Jones into the end zone goes Thomas Jones for a touchdown. And that's an in-your-face jump shot. Of course, the Giants have made that their little mini trademark after their sacks, but now Thomas Jones goes in and he puts one in from 3-point land.
Yeah, everyone's doing it. I mean, we've had way too many jump shots tonight.
Yeah, that's enough.
Yeah, you think, okay, that's enough of that. That was good for a while. Let's come up with something different. But again, you know, we just showed that top of the rock, and I kind of think that maybe that guy with the jump shot has to be up there tonight, huh?
You know, sometimes we like, you know, the body of work to determine it. And Jones's body of work tonight has been pretty good. But the 3rd and 22 is the ball game. He gained week 2. Might as well. The Bears come right back to take on the Jets. And how about the Jets win today against the New England Patriots?
Yeah, the Patriots may have more problems than advertised.
Yep. Life in the NFL. Nobody knows anything. Bears last week looked awful. Turned it over 6 times. Lose to Miami, a team that had won 1 game. Lose by 18. Come in here tonight. Don't look good at all until there were 2 minutes left in the half. Jones turns the game around on the 3rd and 22. And the next thing you know, the Chicago Bears are 2 games up in the NFC, and they've already knocked off the Giants. Next week, Chicago back here at the Jets. The following week at New England. So a tough road trip, but a good beginning for the Bears. 38-20 Sirius Satellite Radio postgame report coming up next.